everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Spectrum Cast. I am really thrilled to be here today because today we're actually combining the forces of all of the IBM systems organization between software and hardware. I am joined by my co-host, Randy Arsenault, and with us today we have Michael Flint and Ian Shave. Hey guys, how you doing?
All right, great.
Let us use our superpowers for good.
Yes.
Thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
The pleasure is all yours for sure.
Let's just kick this right off. Mike, you and I, for probably the last 3 or 4 years, have been trying hard to find some synergistic value between some data protection solutions, because everybody does backup in the software side, and combine it with the excellence of the direction you've brought the FlashSystems portfolio. And we've kind of finally done it. So let's jump in. Tell us about this.
Well, Steve, first of all, you are right. We have been talking about this way too long. Here's what's exciting. And Steve, I'm going to digress one bit. I recall us being together in Dubai. We were both speaking at a conference and we were having a coffee in the morning. And that same exact conversation that we had is finally coming true. So it gives me goosebumps because it's what we're doing here, Steve, is and team is incredibly powerful. It's powerful because, right, we are bringing all the forces together to really what I think our significant challenge out there is to help all of our clients with that data resilience story, right, and getting their infrastructure and their capabilities in line to be protected. And so this is really what I call putting gas on our flash systems to really help with that. So as we talked before, Steve, that Spectrum Protect bundle that we have now with the FlashSystem 5000. So folks, what we've done is we've bundled the SPP with the FS 5000. So for the 5015, the 5035, and the 5200. And the goal is to bring an aggressive price and capability to this important entry-level enterprise space that a lot of clients are exposed. And we're now making this really a extremely affordable and capable solution and bundle. So bundling the Spectrum Protect, right, and for the full capacity of that flash array, and an aggressive price is what our goal is. And that's what I think we've accomplished here. And I think folks out there listening to us, that's what we're trying to get out to you is this does not need to be an overwhelming bundle or process. It's very simple, easy, and aggressively priced. So Steve, again, cheers back to Dubai. But I'm so happy to see this come together.
Great. Thanks, Mike. So Ian, now Mike's teed us up pretty well here, I think. So we've got Spectrum Protect Plus and the FlashSystem 5000. And I know the FlashSystems team has done a lot to drive a lot of great sets of capabilities with the Flash systems. You want to take us through some of that and kind of the history of what's happened over the last 12 to 18, 24 months?
I thought for a minute there you were going to say 12 to 18 years. I was thinking this is going to be a long call. Yes, obviously, I think hopefully everybody knows we dramatically simplified our portfolio. So, we've consolidated into having our flash system portfolio that, and the great thing is we've got this fabulous set of capabilities in this software stack, the Spectrum virtualized software stack. And so now it's whether you want to do it at an enterprise level, you might want to, put in our software into a data center and just provide incredible value over anybody's arrays, or whether you want all that capability in an array. And it doesn't matter whether you want it right at the entry level, like 5015, like Mike was talking about, or our range topping flash system 9200. It's the same software, same set of capabilities. So, you've got enterprise grade capabilities from high end all the way into the low end. You're not being asked to compromise by buying a lower cost solution, if I put it that way. It's not lower value, it's just a lower cost solution. And the simplification was a lot what went into that, both from a portfolio perspective, but also in the way you use these systems. And so I think we've been making that side of it easier, make them easy to use. Of course, at the beginning of this year, we also then made buying the right service pack that goes with it, so the maintenance is going to go with it. We've made that simple. And now introducing this, we're making that that data resilience angle simple too. So I think it's a great sort of tie in the whole continuum of how easy can we make it, because customers don't want to spend that. I mean, in the past, I think they used to love, playing around and using command line interface and looking like an expert with all the different parameters. They just need it to be easy now.
And you said it so right? That simplicity, that continuum with the virtualization, right? That software layer that really drives the entry level to the increased capability. And it's like you get to learn once and you get to grow. Yeah. And the SPP added bundle here really sets you up for future growth as well. When you think about your resilience as you go through and your capabilities grow, you're not having to go relearn. You're leveraging what you have had and where you started and moved. So Ian, you're so spot on from that simplicity and that continuum within the Flash systems.
And, from my perspective, whenever I talk to customers, making these solutions more accessible to more customers, regardless of their size, their industry, their location, their geography, their use case, that is good for everyone, right? All boats rise with the tide. So we're able to put this capability in the hands of more clients, in more geographies around the world and more industries. So, all in all, good growth strategy. And this is just a new value add that makes the story even more compelling. So Absolutely. Well done. I know you guys have been at it for a while, so it's nice to see you finally, coming full term with this.
I suppose, Randy, I know where you're trying to go. You're trying to say that the hardware eventually caught up with the software. I know that's exactly what you're trying to imply, but
okay, I didn't want to say it outright, but no.
I'm just going to say hardware has more flashing lights. Software, there's nothing to look at. Anyway,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
But you're right. But also, an important point you're on, Randy. The simplification. The other huge advantage was it does mean that we can start to execute and get new capabilities rolled out faster, because we're not trying to do it on 20 different platforms. And let's be honest, that's where most customers got to. They've ended up with, even from a single vendor, multiple devices to try and manage, and it's just too difficult. So we've made that very simple, and it means we bring value fast.
My favorite visual representing the Flash system portfolio is the competitive comparison, because it shows the simple single platform, all the same core capabilities across, from entry level to enterprise. And you look at the competition, it's, 17 different solutions and 50 million different permutations of features and external capabilities and add-ons and bolt-ons. And so, I mean, that's very compelling for sure.
And the other thing I wanted to say, Ian, I'm glad you brought up simplicity, because right about the same time, you guys started to turn the crank on making things really simple within the portfolio of Flash systems. IBM also made a pretty decent size investment in adding to its overall data resilience portfolio with the Spectrum Protrect Plus solution that is the complement to this bundle. And part of that solution is really all about how to modernize your protection environment, but do it in a very simple way. So things like taking snapshots for protection, making it very fast, agentless implementation, making the deployment super simple. The ability to be able to instantly recover and get your data back, covering whether it be applications that reside on traditional physical systems, but stored, the data stored on the Flash system, if it's virtual machines storing their data on the Flash system, or if it's container solutions or container applications storing data on that Flash system. What we've done is we've tried to cover the gamut of what you have, provide that level of simplicity, help clients lower their operational expense. I agree with you totally, Ian, about how people just want to just solve my problem today. It's not about all the bells and whistles. So I really think this is a powerful combination solution.
Yeah, and I think it's, it doesn't matter what your requirement is today. You're not limited as to where you can go in the future. So it might be that today a client is going, I just need some storage. I just need it to be fast enough. That's what I need for an application or a workload today. they might know, or maybe they don't know yet. In the future, they might need to make that more highly available. They might want to start getting more into disaster recovery and having multi-site capability. And the great thing is they're investing in a platform that can help them start from where they need to start from and grow to where they need to grow to.
So going back to the simplicity thing, just leveraging off something Mike said earlier, I think in addition to sort of, the fractional consumption model and the fact that the entry point systems are a lower cost and they're more accessible, you touched on the idea that you learn the platform once and then that knowledge scales up. So there's not only an initial cost reduction in TCO benefit, there's an operational efficiency benefit that even accrues over time. So you get sort of a benefit now and a continued benefit that accrues throughout the life of the system, even as you grow. So I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, that is definitely cool. So Mike, why don't you, we've been talking about the fact that, we've got this great scale and set of systems, right? That scan, deep enterprise, mainframe systems, high-end enterprise customers, all the way down to the mom and pop shops. And the nice thing that I like about the simplicity of the solutions that you guys brought, in today's world, maybe 20 years ago, I had a bunch of pictures and maybe that took up some storage space on my hard drive. Now I have a small business, right? And I actually need some external storage because my data is continuing to grow. Mike, you've seen a lot of different examples with different small businesses that have run into challenges. You were telling us a story before. Why don't you take us down that path?
Sure. No, listen, right. Everybody's affected by malicious activity, right? And so all of us have gotten the email on the large companies, right? At large airlines, I've had 2 emails where, hey, our data has been compromised. We're going to pay for some credit monitoring for you, right? Those scenarios. But it's just as important at our entry level. And as we've articulated, right, the FlashSystems has a wonderful entry level enterprise capability with that software stack. But I ran into a scenario, gentlemen, where and I know you guys will smile here, but I was purchasing flowers for my mother on Mother's Day, right? And for 15 years, I've used this florist. And I called in and it's so easy, right? Hey, I really want to do the orchid. I like the vase that you did before. Can you please set this up? I'd like to have it. And they said, Mike, we have an issue. And that is we can't track back to what you purchased in the past. We lost all our data. We were attacked. We lost everything. So they're rebuilding. So think about this. 15 plus years of having to go and redo everything, all this information. And I was talking to the owner. She was frustrated because now this introduces the competition, because now all of a sudden we can't remember what we did before. So, okay, my convenience is gone. So but a 50-15 with this SPP bundle could have solved that at an aggressive price, at an entry level price that allows them to get the same type of protection that our large enterprises need as well. So the story and the criticality of this is from entry level all the way up to the stack, Steve. But it was heartbreaking to see what happened to the florist.
Look at the news. I mean, the recent, Kaseya breach affected thousands of small businesses, just like the florist. So, if you're a seller or you're potentially interested in this system, unless you hate your mother, obviously you need to consider this bundle as a must-have for your small business.
Randy,
that is an interesting new sales tactic there, Randy.
Well, I just call it like I see it. Yeah.
And Mike, I'm really glad you teed up resiliency. Ian and I have done a lot of work over the last month in working out resiliency as it applies to the overall portfolio. And I think you make a really good point, right? Maybe in the day that you were dealing with your florist over the past 4 or 5 years, maybe they weren't backing up because maybe they didn't know what that meant or if they needed to. But we know everybody needs to back up. So the combination of the capabilities that the flash system provides around high availability, and Ian, maybe you'll tell us a little bit about some of those things in conjunction with, because everybody's still going to do some form of backup, take that data off the device to protect it, right? But it's like Reese's. It's two great tastes. It tastes great together, right, Ian?
Well, and I just have to say, you guys created, and I've seen this, a best practices, right? There is a best practices that you can follow to set yourself up. And what this bundle helps provide and follow that best practices that we've outlined, Steve. So I wanted to highlight that because that's out there and clients can see this and follow that process and build their capability over time. Sorry, Ian, back over to you. That stuck out in my mind from something that Randy, you and Steve have all talked about in the past.
I just wondered if you were going to move on to the coffee shop next rather than florist for a minute there, Mike. But but yeah, I mean, yes, so Steve, you're right. We've been looking at kind of data resilience at a very broad kind of spectrum, and I think there are so many different perspectives to look at from it because it's different workloads, different states of data, whether it's hot, cold, or somewhere in between. I'm not quite sure how you truly define the medium temperature, but and there's such different requirements, and obviously for some businesses they've got critical workloads, they can't afford any outage. They can't afford to lose a transaction. A second's downtime just costs money. There's you've got sort of that extreme. But I think the reality of, Steve, of what we were really looking at is there is no really one answer for everything, because there are different requirements for different workloads, different states of data. You're not going to keep, for example, everything on a primary storage array, a high performing enterprise class array. If by the way, if someone wants to afford to do that, I'm good with that. I love the idea of that. But reality says there's going to be some of it, information lifecycle management. We've been talking about it in this industry for years now. There's certain information you need to move off, but also you do need to do the backup, because even if we're doing high availability, if someone, deletes something by mistake, guess what? It deletes it both sides in high availability. There are still going to be times you got to go back to that backup. Corruptions, malicious corruptions, whatever form they take.
Yeah, layers of protection.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, team, I just want to say that I am thrilled, Mike, as we said in the very beginning. We've been trying really hard to do something. We've finally done it. I'm really excited for everyone, for all of our business partners to be able to see this solution, help deliver some enterprise class solutions to their customers at great pricing. Should you want to find out any more about details around pricing, architecture, et cetera, reach out to any of us here on the podcast. Also look in Seismic and share that information with your customers and your clients. And I want to thank you all very much for participating. Any last words, Mike?
Oh, listen, I appreciate it. Folks, please, Steve said, engage us. Allow us to help us share this resilient story. And that's what this is really about, performance and resilience.
Ian?
It's really lovely to see some nice software with our lovely hardware. Yeah.
Very good. And Randy,
do it for Mike's mom.
Yes, do it for Mike's mom.
And with that, I want to thank everyone and have a great day.